one of our colleagues, Judge Njelele, apparently the father passed away during the course of last week, and he's been buried tomorrow, and he stays out at Tohoyandu or beyond Tohoyandu. So persons have to drive. It's about how many hours drive there? It's about 6.
I think yes, it's
maximum
about
6.
Yeah, I used to sit
400, 500
in that
years.
court in Tohoyandu donkey years back, when it was still part of the TPD and the Wheated Crosslands local division. So I know that area. And sometimes they used to take us to Messina on circuit.
On circuit, yes.
Okay, so for that reason, then the court will adjourn at 1 p.m. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Sir.
Perhaps also on that topic, just a reminder that Brigadier Gininda is not available tomorrow and Monday. So then resume on Tuesday next week.
Okay. On Tuesday, ne?
Yes, my lord.
Okay, fine.
Inkantolo ibika ke udaba ke kunodaba okhulunyiwe ekseni lana kunomunye ke wabehluleli oshonele ubaba wakhe kunabantu ke la emsebenzini ke engiyomunye wabo ke nami abazoya ke kuloyo mncwabo loyo. So inkantolo manje uzothi makushaya u1 bese singabuyi ke emuva kwalokho sesobuya sihlanganeke ngolesibili ngoba ke ubrigadier kusasa uyabhala kanye futhi nangomsombuluko sizobuya ke ngolesibili mase siqedile ke ngoba sizobuya ngolesibili iviki elizayo.
Okay.
As it is the court, my lord.
Yes.
Now I'm trying to decipher where I was. Thank you, my lord. Brigadier,
Yes,
you
madam.
are saying this is not a uniform form that is used within the parameters of the South African police services. You're saying without whether some police stations are having these forms. That's what you said, that's all.
I'm saying in terms of the warning statement, my
Yes.
lord, there is no prescribed form. In other words,
Okay.
this is not a golden rule to say this is the only warning statement that you must use. Form, yes, I'm referring to the form itself, my lord. That is why I'm saying if you peruse dockets, and prosecutors will know that you will find different warning statements other than this one. That's what I'm saying, my lord.
Engikushoyo ukuthi ke lena iform ephambi kwami ke akusiyona ke ukuthi ke iyona nje kuphela ke kufanele isetshenziswe uma ungabheka ke amadokodo istatement ke ubona ke abashushisi uzothola ukuthi kunamaform ahlukene ekuyiwona asetshenziswayo uma ke kuza kuloko kubizwa ngokuthi ke ama warning statements.
So what you're basically saying is that there is no uniformity in the South African police services with regard to this document called Statement Regarding Interview with Suspect in terms of the nature of the form.
No, there is uniformity, my lord, insofar as the guidelines with the interview, regarding the interview, the guidelines are set. It's the same with taking a confession, it's guidelines. But when it comes to this specific form, and I'm referring to this specific form to say this is not the only ones, but insofar as the guidelines that must be followed when an interview is done, you get those guidelines. Others are not just as detailed as this one in terms of what it says. It will mostly consider the issues of the constitutional rights and then straight to the explanation as to what the deponent wants to say or responds to.
Engikushoyo ukuthi ke uma kuza ke ekuthini ke yini ekufanele yenziwe kuma interview kukhona ke kusiholayo ukuthi kufanele kwenziweni ke kuyona ke iform lena kodwa uma ubheka ama form ngokuhlukana kwawo amanye azoba nemininingwane ke nanjengale amanye angabi nayo ke imininingwane amalungelo kuphela bese kuyiwa kuyona ke inhlolo khona uqobo.
And maybe to assist the defense, my lord, to make it easier, when I come back next week on Tuesday, I can source those forms, bring them to court and make them available to Advocate Mnisi so that he can see that it's not me making these assertions. These are the different forms that you get in different stations. So I can embark on that exercise to assist so that we can put this matter into rest with a clear understanding.
Ngingasiza noma ngalekelela ke futhi uma sesibuya ke kwiviki elizayo ngolesibili ukuthi ke lama form kwatholeke ukwazi ke ukuthi ke abonwe ke noma bameli bawabone ke sokwazi ukuthi ke lo daba lolu ke sizoluqala.
I don't want that assistance. I am specifically referring to this form Are you then saying that this form that is called SAPS 3M in bracket M, which is known as a statement regarding interview with the suspect, is not a uniform form that is being used by the South African police services when they have an interview with a statement? I'm not talking about guidelines, I'm talking form. This document that has been handed to court as Exhibit XX.
My Lord, I'm answering. I'm saying there are many warnings, there are different various forms marked SAP 3M to be specific, but not necessarily like this one. Others are shorter, hence I said I can embark on exercise of bringing the SAP S3M so that the defense or the court can see them.
Engikushoyo ukuthi ke maningi ke amafomu ke abhalwe ngalendlela SAP 3M kodwa kamanye ke uzothola ukuthi ke awanamininingwane njengalena kamanye nje official ingakho ngisho ke ukuthi ngingawaletha la enkantolo ukulekelela.
Thank you. Let's go back a bit to our introduction. You are saying the first time you saw accused number 2 was on the 18th when you met him at Western area, not so?
At Carltonville, my lord.
At Carltonville, yes.
Yes, that's what I said, my lord.
Ngishilo ukuthi mangihlangana naye kokuqala umsolo wesibili kwakunge 18 June eCarltonville.
And where were you driving from when you met him at Carltonville?
From Gauteng, my lord. I just don't recall. One will have to check where, but it was from Gauteng, my lord.
Ngangibuya khona ke la eGauteng noma ke khona ke eGoli kufanele ngibheke ukuthi kuphi nendawo uma ngangiya khona eCarltonville.
Then what necessitated you to drive to Carltonville to go meet accused number 2?
Well, my lord, I didn't go with accused number 2. I found him there.
No, I'm saying, what necessitated you to drive to Carltonville to go and meet accused number 2?
All right, my apologies, I misunderstood.
Yes.
No, so it was the communication, my lord, that I received from Sergeant Mohane, as I said earlier, that they told me they were there, and following other investigation, and part of, as I'm saying, my lord, that they asked him about this matter. So I wanted to deal with it directly as I was the lead investigating officer, my lord.
Konje uthe kwakuyini injongo noma inhloso yokuthi ke uye eCarltonville uyohlangana naye ke manje bangishilo ukuthi kwakukhulumisana kwakukhona ke kanye naye ke uSergeant Mohane nokuthi ke babeyophenya ke mayelana namanye ke amacala kwase ke uvela namakhulunywa ngalo ke leli icala ke ila engithe khona ke angiyeke nanjengoba kwakuyimina ke oholithimbe liphenyayo kuleli cala.
So for them to have said to you, we're in Carltonville, we're with accused number 2, amongst others who are investigating this case, and then you there and they took a decision to say, I am joining you there at Carltonville. Or is there, okay, you can answer?
Yes. Not joining them in the investigation, my lord. I think I've explained that there were cases that they were following unrelated to this matter. My interest insofar as going there, it was in relation to accused number 2, so that I can conduct an interview with him in relation to this matter. That was my only reason that I went there, my lord.
Isizathu ke esabangela ukuthi ngiye lapho ngishilo lokho ngaphambilini ukuthi bona ke babeyele amanye amacala lapho ayengahlangene naleli mina ukuthi ngiye lapho kwakuthi ke ngiyokhulumisana naye umsolo wesibili mayelana naleli icala.
Brigadier Gininda, why couldn't you wait if the reason that you gave now is what prompted you to drive to Carltonville, to Carltonville? Why could you say to them, okay, no, it's fine. When you're done there, can you please bring him to my office?
No, but why, my lord? What would be the reason of waiting? I was available, and I made a decision. Well, there was nothing that was prohibiting me from going there. I was available, and I felt I want to deal with it, because from the time he was arrested, one will have to take note, my lord, that I was informed that he was arrested on the 16th. It was already the 18th. I've not seen him, and I knew that he was a person of interest based on the statement that was already obtained in the docket, my lord.
Ukuthi ke kwakufanele noma kwakungani ngingalindiki ukuthi uma niqedile lapho nimletheke office lami ngangizokwenzelani ke lokho ngoba ke sasingekho ke izathu nganginaso futhi isikhathi sokuthi ngiye khona lapho okunye futhi ukuthi wayeboshwe nge16 manje ngalelo langa lelo kwakusele ngazo i18 zika June 2020.
Thank you. Now, the date today, when I mean today, I mean the date on which you had an interview with accused number 2 at Carltonville, is the 18th of June, 2020, not so?
Correct, my lord.
I-date ke kwakuse 18 zika June 2020.
And when did accused number 2 again made the confession to, is it Rapado?
Yes, he made it on the 19th of June 2020.
Uma enza ke istatement sokonyuluka kuyena ke uKenel Rapado umsolo wesibili kwakunge 19 zika June 2020.
And when did he make the confession to Mrs. Kronje?
It was the 24th of June 2020.
Kwakunge 24 zika June 2020 uma esenza ke istatement sokonyuluka phambi kwakhe ke uKronje magistrate.
Thank you. Now, it is common cause, or it is not in dispute, let me not say it's common cause, it is not in dispute that after his arrest on the 16th of June at Pukeng, he was taken into custody, not so?
Yes, my lord, I'm aware of that.
Yebo ngiyazi ke ukuthi emuva kokuthi aboshwa ke wase eyovalelwa ke estoksini.
So all these activities which happened subsequent to the 16th of June, up until the 24th of June 2020 when he appeared before Mrs. Kronje, the magistrate, for his confession, he had been always from custody, not so?
Yes, he was still under detention, my lord.
Yes.
Yebo kukanjalo ukuthi konke lokho okwenzeka ke kusuka nge-16 kuyofika ke isikhathi sange-24 uma eya ke phambi koMrs. Kronje kwenza lokho ke ngaphakathi estoksini.
Now, when did he appear at court for the first time in this case?
So on this case, he appeared on the 27th of October 2020, my lord.
Uma ebingelela imanje ihlandla lokuqala ke kuleli icala kwakunge 27 zika October 2020.
Thank you. Now from 22 June 2020, the date on which he appeared before the magistrate for a confession, for the alleged confession to 27 October 2020. Actually, let me put it this way. Why did he not, or why was he not made to appear at court immediately after a confession was taken from Mrs. Kronje on the 24th of June 2020?
So, okay, so yeah, I'll have to explain, my lord. So,
yes.
Firstly, the first court appearance, even though it's unrelated to this matter, took place on the 22nd.
I'm sorry. Brigadier, let me qualify in respect of this matter.
Oh,
yes.
Right. Okay, now I get
sorry.
it. All right. Now, in respect to this matter, my lord, one will remember that I've indicated that on the 23rd of June, there was an interaction where there was an attorney. Subsequent to this meeting and the discussion with the prosecution, arrangements gave rise to the confession that took place based on the discussion on the 24th. The investigation and the collaboration was not done, my lord. The fact that the confession was taken, it was not a done deal that the investigation was done. I was at that stage, my lord, as I said, the first time when I laid eyes on this confession of accused number 2, on the narrowest, the one that I received from Colonel Rapado and subsequently the one of Mrs. Kronje, it was the first time where I had sights of accused 3, 4, and 5 in terms of the names as being alleged, where they were alleging that they were part of this. So insofar as the investigations were concerned, they were not complete. They were far from over. We didn't have the murder weapon. We didn't have all number of things and the statements that the defense is aware that we've disclosed to them. So even though there were these 2 confessions, there were collaboration that needed to be done. You can't just take them on the face value. You need to collaborate and see that what this person is saying is actually the truth or not. And that applied not only in accused number 2, it was the same exercise that I embarked on when we dealt with the confession of accused 1. That is why one was able to see that when he was
Sorry, Brigadier.
So I'm just making
no. I'm asking about accused number 2.
Yes, but my lord, I'm taking.
Let us confine ourselves to accused number 2. I'm not talking accused number 1 as yet. I'll come to accused number 1 if necessary. But let us confine ourselves to accused number 2.
Yes, my lord. But I hear you. I'll try to confine myself. But what I'm saying, my lord, remember when I explained it, they say it mustn't be seen as if accused 2 got a specific treatment that was different than the others. That the picture I want to say that when we go to number 2, there is nothing different.
If I want that explanation,
Mr. Mnisi,
I'll ask you.
Mr. Mnisi, please.
But one of these witnesses was not.
No, but don't stop the witness from testifying.
It's based on rules.
No, the rules are as he says. It mustn't be seen that he gave special preference to accused number 2. There are 5 accused before him. So he had to make, I don't even want to give that evidence, to make a decision concerning all the persons, according to him.
But my lord, my question is specifically confined to accused number 2. If I want to know about accused number 1, I'm specifically asking.
But all 5 of them appeared one time.
But my lord, maybe the court does not understand the gist of my question. I am saying of my concern. I'm saying I'm now busy with accused number 2. Whether or not he gave a different treatment to whether he did not give that which is explaining now. For purposes of my question, it is material. I want answers in relation to accused number 2.
My lord, I'm answering. But what Advocate Mnisi needs to take note, I cannot, because then it will become unfair in terms of what I must tell this court, because it seems my answers must be confined to fit the narrative that he wants to bring forth to this court. I'm answering this question that is asking me. I'm simply indicating that it was not an isolated situation. It's what I've done with accused number 1. But insofar as the question that he asked me with accused 2, I've answered it. But I'm showing objectivity when I'm mentioning the other accused to say it was not the first time, because I'm saying this, my lord, because the impression I'm getting is as if the impression that I'm getting is being created. It's as if there was a special arrangement with accused number 2. That's all that I was getting to, my lord.
Engikuphendulayo ke uma ngiphendula lo mbuzo othi ke ukusuka ngazo i24 June 2020 ive lalanga ke kwenziwa ngalo istatement sokugunyulo kaphambi kwayo imagistrate uCronje kwayoshaya ke noma kuyofika ke nge27 kaOctober 2020 kungani ke phakathi kwaleso sikhathi ukuthi engayanga kuyobingelela imanje mayelana naleli ke icala. Usuyaphendula ukuthi kwakungeneleke umuva kokuthi kwenziwa ke lesa statement kuyena ke umagistrate uCronje kwakusekhona ke nokunye ekwakusafanele kuqinisekisweke kubhekwe asikuthi ke kwakunendlela ethize awayena kwangayo ke noma ekwakwenziwa ngayo kuyena ke umsolwa wesibili. Ngingakho ke sengisho nabanye ke abasolwa ukuthi nakubona ke kwenzeka kanjalo, hayi ukuthi ngikhuluma ngomsolwa wokuqala ngingabuzwanga kodwa ngifuna nje ukuthi ngichazeke indlela ukuthi kwenzeka kanjani ke ngoba ke kwakusafanele ukuthi nophenyo luqhubeke lungekaqedwa ngaleso sikhathi.
And lastly, my lord, with regard to accused number 2, to this question that Advocate Mnisi is asking, I was not investigating accused 2 in isolation of the other accused. I think will assist, because it wasn't like I was sitting and saying, now I'm focusing on accused 2 only. Collectively, as the evidence was coming, I was investigating all of them from 1 up to 5, especially after the confession of accused 2. So it was a collective investigation.
Futhi ke okugcina ke uphendula ke lo mbuzo engikubuza uyena ke uAdvocate Mnisi kwakungasibona ke ukuthi ngiphenya ke umsolwa wesibili ke ngokwahlukile ke ngangibaphenya bonke ke usuka kokuqala kuyofika ke kowesihlanu ngesikhathi esisodwa ungasikuthi ke ngibaphenya ke ngokwahlukahlukene.
Thank you. Now you're saying on the 23rd of June 2020 accused number 2 actually you put it like this, that there was an arrangement for a confession that was facilitated or an arrangement for a confession that was made with an attorney that accused number 2 on the 24th should go and appear before a magistrate for a confession. Is that true or correct?
No, I think maybe there might have been a misunderstanding. I'm
Yes.
saying, my Lord, on the 23rd, so I was referring to the confession of Mrs. Cronje,
Yes.
to say it came as a result of the discussions
Yes.
that took place on the 23rd between accused and his attorney with the state. And then out of those discussions, it gave rise to the confession of the 25th and
Yes.
the discussions that followed. That's what I was saying.
Engikushilo ukuthi ke kwistatement lesi esenziwa nge-24 zika June 2020 phambi kwayo imantshi uCronje ukuthi lokho kwaqala nge-23 zika June 2020 phakathi komsolwa ummeli wakhe kanye nombuso ukusuka lapho ke kwase kwenziwa le statement ke ngelanga elandelayo nokuqhubeka ke emuva kwalokho.
Thank you. Now, I just want to paraphrase what you've just said now so that I'm able to follow you. You are saying on the 23rd, there was a discussion between accused number 2's attorney and himself with the prosecutors for a confession that was supposed to, or about a confession that had to be taken on the 24th of June 2020, not so?
The discussions, my Lord, because I don't want to say it incorrectly so that we don't find ourselves bumping it with Mr. Mnisi.
Yes.
The discussions was insofar, and I'm careful to go there, my Lord, because I was told by the prosecution that because those discussions in terms of section of 105A were not finalized, one should not venture into that. So that's why I'm trying to put my weight as amicably and lawfully without being prejudicial to the accused, is that there were discussions that were leading to the 105. And that's how the confession of the 24th of June came into it. So it wasn't simply about the confession. There were discussions. Out of those discussions, certain things then were then put into motion, my Lord.
Lokhu ke uma ngikuphendula ke ukuthi ngifuna ukuthi ngikusho kahle ke ngendlela ke ngoba ke umbuso ungibhayisileke ukuthi ke kwakunezinkulumo ke ezazikhona ngazo i-23 June 2020 la khona ke kune statement ke noma ke lokho kubizwa ngokuthi ke i-section 105 phecelezi ke la umuntu avuma khona ke kulezo inkulumo lezo ke kwase kuholela ekuthini kube nalesi statement esithathwayo ke noma esibhalwa imantshi sange 24 zika June 2020.
Thank you. Now, on your own version, you're saying that there was an attorney involved. So I take it that was Mjiyako.
Yes.
Mjiyako ke ummeli lo engikhuluma ngayo engithi wayekhona.
Now, on the 16th, accused number 2 get arrested by Mahane and Mapena. On the 18th, as per your version, you meeting him at Carlton, where you had that interview with him. On the 19th, he appears before Rapado, 19 June 2020, he appears before Rapado for an alleged confession. On the 23rd of June, there is an attorney. There is Mr. Mjiyako. Mr. Mjiyako now appears at the scene or in the act, and there are those little arrangements that we have discussed about the possible plea bargaining arrangement and the confession. Now, would you recall that this time was at the time of COVID?
Yes, I do recall. That's correct, my Lord.
Uyasho ke ukuthi nge-16 zika June 2020 umsolwa uyaboshwa uyena ke umukhana kanye namabhena nge-18 zika June wena uhlangana naye ke nge-19 zika June 2020 uphambi koRapado la eyokwenza ke istatement ekhona nge-23 zika June 2020 uyasho ukuthi kunomlili uMjiyako kunalamalungiselelo noma kuyakhulunywa ke lapho ngabe uyakhumbula ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi leso kwakungesikhathi sayo ke i-COVID yebo ngiyakhumbula lokho.
Thank you, Madam. There's an indication from my colleague here, Mr. Ramusipili, that apparently accused number 1 wants to.
Oh, it's fine, no problem.
To talk to him. Try the number 2, man. Not number 1.
Thank you, madam, for the message.
As it pleases the court, Mother, thank you. Now, you were agreeing, said that this was the time when the pandemic was at its peak, not so. And at that time, visitations, police stations, hospitals and everywhere were very restricted, not so.
That is correct, my lord.
Uyavuma ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi-ke ukuthi-ke kuhanjwe-ke kuyiwe endaweni-ke noma-ke kuyobhizithwa khona-ke ama-police station, imitholampilo-ke ukuthi nje kwakunemithetho-ke ukuthi-ke kuvimbayo lokho, yebo kuyavuma.
Maybe before I proceed, on the 23rd of June, when there was this attorney, Mr. Mchiako, made an arrangement with the state with regard to a possible plea bargain and a subsequent confession. Were you part of the discussions?
No, my lord.
Thank
No. So I was part in this sense that I'm the one who went to the police station after I received a call.
Yes.
That there was an attorney.
Yes.
Who wants to consult with accused 2. And I gave that permission, my lord, regardless of the pandemic that was in place, because it's constitutional rights to say if someone wants to consult with his legal representative. I think the Constitution, as Advocate Mnisi has said, is a supreme document of this country, so you need to adhere to that. So I allowed that permission. Now, after I got there and I was introduced to this advocate, and I've indicated the sequence of events, my lord, in my evidence in chief. To say, as I walked in, accused 2 said, "This is my attorney," and then we interacted with Mr. Mchiako. After I verified his status, that indeed, where I asked him to identify himself, verify that indeed he was an attorney.
But
then
Brigadier, that's the problem that I have with you. That my question was very simple: were you part of these discussions or not? Yes or no?
But my lord, I'm putting it in context.
Remember, you said the other time that you wanted me to respect you, not so. And I'm trying the best that I can to respect you. But respect is a two-way traffic. If I ask you a simple thing, were you part of the discussions, yes or no? And then you start to give a sermon in circumstances where a sermon has not been requested for you.
My lord,
then you come back and say, I don't respect you. Can you please adhere to the question, were you part of the discussions or not? No.
There's a good case, my lord. Brigadier Gininda is trying to give an explanation, a comprehensive explanation. It's not
but
just...
my lord, who said wants that explanation? Because this is a simple
Mr.
question.
Yes
or no?
Maybe I've gone too old. How can you guys speak at the same time, all of you? Yes. I mean, when I say it's like in a tavern, then I'm told I've never been in a tavern.
Yes.
You can, in a court of law, if your colleague is on the floor, you don't interrupt him. You can raise your hand to show that you want a follow-up, which you will make. Yes. But once he's still speaking and you also speak, yeah, unless you're in the South African Parliament.
Yes. The witnesses asked that Mr. Mchiako made arrangements with the state on the 23rd of June for a possible plea bargain and confession, and he's asked, were you part of the discussions? Now he's trying to explain, my lord, as to what the circumstances were. It's not just a simply, yes and no answer. And we submit, my lord, that this witness is entitled to expand on his answer.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi.
I'm shell-shocked, my lords. Really shell-shocked. Because I would expect that Mr. Gininda, with the experience that he has, is a court eagle. He has been to court on a number of occasions. He can bear testimony to that. He knows that I know that. The manner in which he's supposed to respond to questions, my lord. When I ask him, were you part of the discussions, yes or no? Answer is simple, yes, I was part of them. No, I wasn't part of them. If the answer is yes, then I would ask him to explain what transpired there, or how did you get to be part of that meeting? But what is happening here is really shocking, my lord. I really must say it is shocking. But nonetheless, you can explain, Mr. Gininda.
So, my lord, let me start on this aspect. I do appreciate when Mr. Mnisi said he's doing his best to respect me, because that's what I've been giving him, and I appreciate that we'll respect each other. So that, and I will ask that we maintain that standard. You'll get definitely the same treatment from me in terms of respect. Now, giving an explanation, my lord, it's not a sign of disrespect, because at nowhere do I cast aspersions to him as an advocate or his client. I'm responding and giving explanation based on how I understood the question to be putting. There are instances, my lord, which Advocate Mnisi has put to me, questions where I've answered yes or no. Simple, I've answered them, the record can speak for itself. But when he asks me a question which I see, if I say no, it will give a wrong impression. Even if I say yes, I need to qualify it, my lord. Because, for example, the question that has been put to me, yes, I was not part of the discussion when Advocate Meyiwa was dealing now with the advocate. But there were times when I was involved, and that's the context I wanted to put to him, to say I was involved up to here. When the time came where he wanted to know who are the advocates involved, and I communicated those details to him, then there was a discussion now between him with the advocates. I was not involved, but one needs to put it into proper context, my lord. Because if I say no, and then later evidence comes up to say, but no, you were present when this part was said, it looks like I'm misleading the court. And if I say yes, as Advocate Mnisi is saying, then you will say, what was discussed? I do not know what he said when he spoke to the advocate. That is why I wanted to put the proper context, my lord. Nothing more. But if the question, my lord, simply requires yes or no, I will not be funny or difficult with Advocate Mnisi. I will answer it as such. But if I see that, if I say yes or no, it may give a wrong impression if you don't put a context. I'll just plead with him to be patient with me, my lord, because I'll only give an explanation when I feel it's necessary, nothing more.
Uma ngabe ngichaza ke akusona ke noma lokho akutshengisike ukuthi ke angihloniphike kuyena ke uadvocate Mnisi, kodwa ke uma ngichaza usube nje ngifisa ukuthi ke thumelike umlayezo ekungasiwona, ngoba ke uma sesiqhubeka ke kuzotsha kodwa ke cha uthe wawungekho noma ungasiyona ke ingxenye noma wawungekho ke lapho umji yakho wayekhona ke, ngoba ke ngangikhona ukuthi noma efuna ukwazi ukuthi obani abameli noma ke ama advocates ngamtshela ukuthi awubobani, kodwa uma esikhulumisana nabo ke ngangingekho lapho. Mina ke kwakuqinisekisa emuva nje ukuthi ngitsheliwe ukuthi kunomeli ofuna ukuthi akhulumeke naye umsoli wakhe, noma ke kwakuyileso sikhathi leso sayo ke iCovid. Kodwa ke manje ngoba ebeshilo ke advocate ukuthi ke sila noma sihola uyona ke umthetho sisekelo, ngavuma ukuthi ke ummeli lowo akakhulume naye. Yilokho ebengifisa ukuthi ngikusho noma ngikuchaze.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier, I'm not even so sure whether you'll be able to answer this question. What do you know? How did Mr. Meyiwa know about accused number 2's incarceration for him to have gone to him on the 23rd of June 2020 to go and request him to talk to him?
No, I don't know, my lord. I wouldn't know. And I didn't inquire about it, my lord.
Ukuthi wazi kanjani ke uMr Mjiyako mayelana nokuboshwa kwakhe umsolo wesibili ukuthi ayohlangana naye ke angazi ke futhi angaze ngikubuze ke lokho.
Thank you. Just a second, my lord. You have admitted that I'm sorry, madam. Before I proceed to the question, probably
Yeah, fine.
there's a bomb that is coming.
What's your time?
12.
12.
As it pleases the court, my lord.
Yeah.
I realize, my lord, that it is getting a little bit hotter in the kitchen. For me, for Mr. Ramusipili, and for Mr. Ntanzi. And we don't want to look like we're running around, my lord. But the topic is getting very interesting indeed. May I therefore request, my lord, that owing to the fact that we only left with 20 minutes to go, we then take an adjournment. There is adjournment as per the arrangement. Then we do what we need to do. We do what we need
Continue
to
until 1 o'clock, please. Okay.
Thank you, my lord.
Yeah, because there are critics here saying every time you want to cough, there is an adjournment. The adjourn, please. So let's go until 1.
So you're saying you would really know how did it happen that Mr. Mjiyaku should know about accused number 2's incarceration?
No, my lord.
Uyashoka ukuthi awazi ukuthi kwenzeka kanjani ke ukuthi uMjiyako azi ngokuboshwa kwamsolo wesibili? Cha.
Let's put a comma there. Let's talk about Mr. Mjiyaku. Brigadier,
Yes, my lord.
look at me.
Must I look at you?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I'm here.
Mr. Mjiyaku.
Yes, sir.
You know him?
No, I don't, my lord. I think in my evidence in chief during the trial within trial, that question was asked by Advocate Mshololo specifically as to whether he ever worked with him and so forth. All I could say, my lord, is that I've never worked with him. I've never came across him when he was in the police, and I did not know him up to the day when I met him. This is thing that I've read about him, because it became the public knowledge that he was once in the police working with CI, but me, myself, my lord, standing here up to today, I never worked with him, we never interacted, be it on operational matters or even a meeting, so I did not know him.
Okay.
That's the honest truth, my lord.
Mangikhuluma nje iqiniso-ke ngicabanga ukuthi lo mbuzo ngawubuzwa-ke ngaphambilini uyena-ke u-advocate Mshololo ngasho-ke ukuthi-ke ngezwa-ke ukuthi-ke wayeke wasebenza-ke emaphoyiseni kodwa mina-ke angikaze ngihlangane naye noma ukuthi sihlanganiswa umsebenzi-ke kuze kube yilela langa leliya engahlangana naye ngalo kodwa-ke yena nje umuntu engangingamazi.
So what you're then saying is that you met him for the first time on the 23rd of June 2020 as an attorney who came and requested to see Mr. Accused number 2.
Yes, as a person, I met him on that cycle, but even as a person, individual, as I said, my lord, we never came across each other.
Mina-ke umuntu engakaze nje ngihlangane naye-ke ngaphambilini kodwa-ke ngalela njengoba ngisho-ke ukuthi ngangihlangana naye ihlandla lokuqala.
Thank you. Now you have admitted that it is imperative. That was at the onset. I think that was my very first question when we started. That when a person gets arrested, he will have to be. Actually, the imperatives why he's getting searched. Number one, it was for security reasons. That actually came from me. Number two, you went on and described the processes and other two reasons beyond what I gave, which was security reason, for the reason why he should be searched. Actually, the imperatives why he's getting searched. Number one, it was for security reasons. That actually came from me. Number two, you went on and described the processes and other two reasons beyond what I gave, which was security reason, for the reason why he should be searched. To seize the items that are in his possession, and if those items are supposed to be used as exhibits, then they get registered in SAP 13. If those items are items that needs to be retained to him after the completion for the reason or the completion of the reason why he was arrested, then those items are noted. I think you said SAP 22 or something like that.
Yes, prisoner's property, correct.
Yes, and then they will be taken back to him or to his relative. Now, accused number 2 gets arrested on the 16th by Sergeant Mohane and Sergeant Mabena. In terms of your explanation, they would have searched him and they would have confiscated everything that they needed to confiscate from him except for the clothes that he was wearing. Should that not have been the case?
That would be the case, my lord.
Thank you.
Uma uthuchaza-ke manje bambopha-ke ngeyi-16 ka-June 2020 uMkhane noMabhena uma ngendlela ochaza ngayo-ke noma osho ngayo kufanele ukuthi bamseshile-ke base bethatha konke-ke abathola kuyena ngaphandle nje kwalokho ayegqokile yebo.
Now, on the 17th, they have an interview with him in the boardroom at Pretoria North. On the 9th, on the 18th, they are taking him to Carltonville, where you also met them. Then on the 19th of June, he appears before Mr. Rapado, and then the 23rd of June, the attorney comes and see him. Now, from the moment he's getting arrested to the day on which this attorney presents himself, Mr. Mjiyayo, Mjiyako, yes, presents himself to the police station and requests to see accused number 2. At that time, accused number 2 is totally secluded from any type of a communication with the outside world, not so?
No, it's not so, my lord. I disagree. So,
okay.
The court will remember just a day before, day before the 23rd of June, he was in court in Phokeng. So there was no seclusion. 23rd, you go back just a day before he made his first appearance in Phokeng court. So there was no seclusion. I'm just referring to that, and I don't want to expand so that I say more than that. Just a day before he was in court to prove that, and he appeared before the magistrate, and he was remanded into custody on that particular matter, my lord.
Manje-ke ukusuka ngesikhathi kaboshwa ngaso kumsolo wesibili ngazo i-16 leziyana kuyofika-ke ngazo i-23 uma sekuqhamuka-ke ummeli lona, kusho ukuthi manje akukho okwakumhlanganisa-ke nabantu noma kumhlanganisa nokungaphandle-ke kwasejele noma-ke khona-ke esitokisini. Akusilona iqiniso lolo ngoba-ke ngaphambi nje kwazo i-23 leziyana-ke wayobingelela-ke imantshi laseke iqala liyahlehliswa-ke.
Thank you. Brigadier, when I say seclusion, I'm not talking in terms of a solitary confinement, as it was applicable in respect of the other accused. I mean in terms of communication with the outside world. By virtue of the fact that he's getting arrested on the 16th, his his communication capabilities with the outside world get cut off because he's now in the custody of the South African Police Services. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm saying actually.
Okay, my lord.
Yes.
No. I still I did not deal with the communications specific with accused 2.
Yes.
But what I can say, my lord, the fact that a person is incarcerated does not mean he does not have a right to communicate. Those rights are given at the police station.
Yes.
He can ask for the phone, he can ask for visit, and are even visiting hours. Even the officers who do random visits will ask them if, for example, they need to engage next of kin and so forth and so forth. So it cannot be said, my lord, that the fact that you are incarcerated, then the communication to the outside world it's cut off completely. You have those rights, my lord, and they are done at the state expense at the police station.
Thank you.
Uma kuwukuthi umuntu-ke usesitokisini noma-ke uvalelwe-ke akusho ukuthi lokho-ke akanako ukuthi axhumaneke nabantu noma-ke azobonwa-ke akhona-ke lawo malungelo khona lapho-ke esiteshi, futhi lokho kwenziwa-ke ngokuthi-ke kube wona-ke umbuso-ke okhokhayo phecelezi-ke i-state cost. Akusho ukuthi-ke umuntu akakwazi ukuthi angaxhumana-ke nabantu uma evalelwe.
Thank you. When I say he's cut out from the outside communication, I mean he would not communicate with the outside world as and when he wished. The communication that he would have been entitled to, it was a controlled communication, not so.
Yes, it's restricted. Perhaps that's the term. It's restricted. Yes. Restricted.
Yes. Thank you.
Ukuxhumana kwakhe-ke ngiyakuzwa-ke uma ukuthi-ke akaxhumanike ngokwendlela-ke mhlambe abe ngafisa ngayo-ke.
Yeah.
Excuse me, madam.
No, when you're talking about communication,
Yes.
it's impossible or restricted. I'm just reminded by South Africa's history. Just for interest's sake, when Steve Biko was arrested,
Yes, madam.
he was with Peter Jones
Yes.
at the roadblock.
Yes.
You heard me.
Yes, madam.
We all knew after that. Those were involved then.
Maybe there was a snitch there.
I don't know.
There was a
Just saying,
snitch from the police who said, hey.
We knew that Steve was arrested,
Yes.
and after 2 weeks he was dead.
Yes, that's the reason why I'm saying, my lord. Maybe
No,
there was a
just-
snitch amongst the members of the police, and then he could have called the. Black consciousness. Yes, maybe found one member of the black consciousness and say, hey, one of your members there has been, but don't say it's me.
Okay.
We don't know, man. But that is made. Brigadier Gininda admits that once he's in the custody of the South African police, then the person's communication with the outside world gets to be restricted. So,
Correct, I agree.
thank you.
Lokho ngiyavuma-ke ukuthi-ke akaxhumanike ngendlela-ke abe ngafisa-ke ukuthi angaxhumana ngayo naba ngaphandle uma eboshiwe.
My lord, I'm not so certain whether the gentleman or whether the person who was complaining about us wasting court time would still complain if we are adjourning before 8 minutes to 1. I'm not.
He's
I'm
seated
not
there.
so sure.
He's seated there.
I think you will be
I'm
pushing
joking.
it.
Maybe he was watching YouTube.
I think you will be pushing it too far.
How long are you still going to be with this witness?
Very long.
Very long.
Very long.
Oh, very, very long. Very long. No, push on until 1 o'clock. You see, the statement is to go. Push on until 1 o'clock.
I'm requested, my lord, by Mr. Ramusipili to implore the court that there are points that we need to polish, because once we adjourn here, there is a fear that our colleagues from the correctional services are going to say, no, your time is up, it's our time now, and they are going to take him away, my lord. So then that is going to affect us in polishing the point that Mr. Ramusipili wants us to polish.
That's all.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
He's been trying.
Hello?
He's been trying all things. So
Yeah, I can see that. No, fine. Let's adjourn because I'm told that there are points that which want to be polished.
As it is the court. Thank you.
So, I'm sorry about that. But then it means we are not sitting tomorrow.
Yes, my lord.
On Monday also.
Yes, because I'm writing also on Monday.
Tuesday.
From Tuesday, I'm available until the end of term.
From Tuesday.
Until the end
you're
of term.
available.
Until the end of
So we must postpone to Tuesday.
Yes,
The 26th, my lord.
Okay. The 26th, is it?
Yes.
All right. 26th then. Of November. Okay, the court will adjourn then.